He's a true statesman, and please take care of him when we can't anymore when he leaves. But I do want to say I'm glad we're talking about workforce issues. I'm glad we're talking to our witnesses about recently approved transportation funding. And, you know, when it begins to go out, I'm expecting there to be need for more skilled craftspeople. While many challenges exist for constructing our nation's core infrastructure, ensuring a readily available skilled craft workforce is our initial challenge. But it's not the only challenge that we face, and it's important to remember the context of this hearing and what we are discussing today. Earlier this month, we once again saw sky-high inflation numbers, 8.5%. Inflation in March was the highest level in 40 years. The Biden administration's response to the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated the nation's supply chain crisis. Paying people to stay home has only made it harder to find skilled, trained workers. Add that to the soaring gas and diesel prices and construction costs having the largest year-over-year spike since 1970, and a project simply costs more today than it did 5 months ago. So as this infrastructure money gets awarded, it is very important that this administration provides recipients with the flexibility needed to ensure that they can be built in the most cost-effective way. One cost-effective way is to fully implement one federal decision. Since its enactment, this administration has dragged its feet in implementing this industry-changing legislation. For too long, worthy infrastructure projects have been needlessly delayed by our permitting system. Time is money, and in a world of skyrocketing inflation, further delay in implementing this law limits the total number of jobs that the infrastructure money creates. As the federal government begins to allocate funds for infrastructure projects, we must ensure our workforce is available and ready from the start so that the dollars can stretch further. Building trades and contractors are essential to our nation's economic growth, and I've long supported policies to support the construction workforce. I look forward to hearing from all of our witnesses about some of the challenges that exist in matching our workforce to our critical infrastructure needs. Again, Madam Chair and all our witnesses, thanks for being here today. And please, Ms. Smith, I look forward to hearing the stories about your dad that we can use before he leaves at the end of this year. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you very much, Ranking Member Davis. I now recognize the chair of the full committee, Mr. DeFazio.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks again for this hearing. Thanks to the witnesses for being here today, physically and virtually. We have tremendous opportunities with the bipartisan infrastructure bill or the IIJA or whatever you want to label it. $400 billion in major highway projects, bridges, $107 billion transit, and $102 billion for rail. As was noted, this will require a tremendous investment in a workforce, a new workforce, and reaching communities that haven't been reached before for all these new positions in the construction trades. A lot of young people aren't aware that, of the tremendous opportunities that are out there, and we've got to reach out to them and recruit them into this. It's not people with picks and shovels anymore. Much construction work is very sophisticated, computer-driven equipment, et cetera. We also need to continue to protect Davis-Bacon prevailing wage. We want people to get a fair wage for their work and be able to have a good middle-class lifestyle, which is becoming more and more difficult in this nation. So that's really key. I'm pleased to welcome the executive director of the Oregon tradeswoman, Kelly Kupchak, who is testifying on behalf of the National Task Force on Tradeswomen's Issues. Oregon, my home state, has been on the forefront of addressing historical underrepresentation of women, minorities, disadvantaged individuals in the construction trades. Just recently, Metro, the Metropolitan Planning Organization in Portland, and its regional partners adopted the Construction Career Pathways Regional Framework and signed the first of its kind Regional Workforce Equity Agreement. These coordinated efforts will help ensure delivery of infrastructure projects